If you missed out on the action of the Travel Trends Summit that happened on the 19th of May, don't stress, we have got you. This episode, we're going through an entire debrief with Shannon from Travel Agent Finder. Hey, I'm Steph, and I'm obsessed with all things travel, marketing, branding, and helping you stand out from the crowd. In just under 2 years, I went from being a home-based travel agent with zero clue how to make it work in the digital world to launching an international ranking travel podcast and creating an online course to help travel agents in lead generation. Here's one thing I know for sure. There has never in the history of the world been a better time to create the travel business you've always wanted. All you need is an actionable strategy and someone to show you the way. Picture this, we're going to spend the next hour of our time together at the Swim Up Pool Bar, where over a cocktail, we deep dive into travel-related topics, mixed with a little classroom training. This show is dedicated to encouraging you to step outside of your comfort zone and into your travel business. I'll show you how I did it and how you can too. Hit subscribe now and let's get into it. If you're a travel agent wanting to stand out in the digital world but you struggle with consistency, tech isn't your jam and you have no idea where to start, join my free masterclass where I talk about exactly this. Head to stephaniemyers.academy/masterclass. You're listening to Unplug in Paradise, the podcast. Hello, welcome back to the podcast. My name is Steph, and if we don't know each other already, I am the host of Unplug in Paradise, the podcast. I'm also the crazy person who created the Travel Trends Summit on the Gold Coast, which we hosted a few weeks ago now. I'm also the captain, head honcho over at the Travel Agent Runway flagship program for the travel industry. And what else? I'm a mum. Travel agent. So that's lots of titles for those people who are tuning in for the first time and not really sure what we do here. So this particular episode, we are going through a debrief of our very first ever Travel Trends Summit, which was held at the Ridges Gold Coast Airport Hotel a few weeks ago, and we are all still riding the cloud nine. We're all still so head up in the clouds, just loving what we created that day. So this episode, we're going to do a debrief, but I'm not doing it alone. I have Shannon from Travel Agent Finder joining me today. And for those people who are tuning in today, on the 2nd of June is Anna's birthday. So this episode's going live today. So you need to go over and wish her a happy birthday, Anna. Very happy birthday. Congratulations. You're an absolute little powerhouse. But we also will be talking about Travel Agent Finder and the future of travel agents when it comes to the digital era, and what our future looks like for those agents who are embracing the digital change, because there is change happening in the winds, and we need to get on board. Our industry is in desperate need of a shakeup, and honestly, I'm here for it. So let's dive into the episode. Shannon, if you don't already know her, is the founder of Travel Agent Finder, the platform that hosts over 700 plus travel agents in Australia and gives them all a valuable little slice of real estate to make sure that they are all standing out as the expert inside of their niche, and also giving them a space to talk about what it is that lights them up. So what they're passionate about, what makes them get out of bed in the morning, and also gives kudos to the people that they serve as well. So love the platform and love the agents who are taking action. So let's do this. This is a very juicy episode. I'm not going to waffle on in the intro. Let's go over and have a chat with Anna. Before we begin today's episode, would you please join me while we recognise the generations of the local Aboriginal people of the Bundjalung Nation who have lived in and derived their physical and spiritual needs from the forests, rivers, lakes and streams of this beautiful valley over thousands of years as the traditional owners and custodians of these lands. Hello, Anna. Welcome to the Unplug in Paradise podcast. Great to have you officially on the show.
Thanks, Steph. It's great to officially be here. Thank you.
We've been ducking and weaving through both of our schedules over the last few months, trying to work out when the perfect time was to have a chat on the air. But first of all, before we get stuck into our chat, I do want to say a massive thank you so much for being one of our event partners for Travel Trend. Oh my gosh, we're going to talk about it today, but I do just want to say that, yes, there was some magic created last Friday, and it's such a special thing that we can do for our industry. But thank you so much for believing in me, because if it's not for people like you who believe in people like me, events and things like that, this just don't happen. So yeah, it just wouldn't have gotten off the ground, to be truthful. So a big cheers and a big thank you to you for supporting us and sharing the Travel Trend love among your network. And you're so active on LinkedIn. Like, show me a thing or two, girl. I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, just being an advocate for breeding change in the industry. So thank you.
Thank you for putting it on. I mean, I'm just so still riding the high from this event. It was absolutely incredible. And, you know, to be involved from the very beginning and see you go from this idea to, you know, what actually eventuated and how amazing the day was and how much positive feedback you've really had. I'm just so happy to be involved. So thank you for making it all happen.
Oh, darling. I remember when we first met, Anna had just moved to northern New South Wales, and I'm here in the cozy corner as well. And we met up in Kingscliff at a cafe, and we were all very professional, weren't we? We were very trying to make a Sunday lunch or Sunday brekkie really quite business-like, weren't we?
Yeah, I guess it started that way, didn't it?
Absolutely. Well, it started that way, and then it ended up with me fully clothed in the river, showing off what we do in our backyard. So yeah.
I felt, I guess I'd been watching you for, you know, a long time, and I felt so energized by what you were doing, because I don't think we see enough of that in the industry. So, you know, once I got to actually starting to talk to you in real life and realize, you know, we're probably kindred souls on this same type of path to have our voice heard in the industry a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think, you know, our chat quickly escalated to jumping in the river. That wasn't a bad thing, right?
I noticed that you know, just go and jump in the river, won't you? It's like, yeah, okay, I will. Watch me.
Oh, we had some good chats.
I know, it was so nice. But one of those chats was about Travel Trend, and it was very early on in the piece. Like, I feel like after Friday, we're going to do a debrief here today, but I feel like after Friday, it has definitely taken on a persona of its own. Like, Travel Trend, the girl, has just grown into something more beastly than I could ever imagine. And I think when we first spoke about it, like, the intent was to bring people together and showcase that there are other options out there for when you're promoting yourself online. And I know that Travel Agent Finder, which is your platform, is very much all about that.
Yes, so I think we have similar intentions in that we see the value of really, you know, promoting yourself and what you're good at, and really embracing technology and the online world to share that message. And I think that's something that sometimes in our industry is not done so great. We're quite a traditional industry. I think you know, we've always done things the same way, and there's a lot of parts of the industry where technology hasn't really caught up with us.
Mm.
Not sure why we're hidden away over here, not embracing it, but I think we're starting to. And the biggest part of that, I think, was that no one's really talking about it. So there wasn't somewhere for people to learn or to know what to do. And the more of us who make that information available or make, platforms available to help people with that, the more we can embrace it and learn, because it's so important for our businesses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And you've got quite a platform of like-minded travel agents who all share in the same vision as you, Anna, getting found online and being recognized for their expertise. What's the future looking like at the moment? Like, what's some feedback from your people about your platform?
Well, great question, actually, Steph. It's been a journey, let's say. I sometimes
A
hate
roller
using
coaster.
a roller coaster is a good one. I did launch this platform. The international borders were still closed, so but I knew that I wanted to get a good range of travel agents on the site, so that once travel was ready to bounce back, there'd be beautiful people here to help those travelers who were looking for an agent, who maybe had lost their agent. So I have had some really great successes, and feedback from agents, which is great.
Mhm.
We're averaging about 300 new client inquiries through the site a month, which is really,
Wow.
really exciting now. So obviously, when you're marketing to, the whole of Australia, or travelers in the whole of Australia, that's going to take time. So I think that's going well in terms of the growth there. And it's really nice to hear from agents. I think, occasionally I'll get an email and from people saying, it's so nice that you actually reply to us, and you're not just, you're a real person. You're not just a company, or, and people will ask me questions like, can you give me any tips to improve my profile, that kind of thing. And I'm really happy to help with that. But yeah, I've had some really interesting discussions with agents who have had success with the platform. So I remember having a conversation with one who was pretty close to giving up on her business, to be honest. She was going through some things at the time. So it wasn't just everything that had happened in the travel industry, but she was in a tough place, and she got a $27,000 booking from a lead that came from my site, I think 6 weeks after.
Wow.
Hearing her say, I'm energized about my business again, like I'm excited to actually do what I do and what I love doing again. Thank you so much. So that was really special, and something that definitely stands out. And I think also I get to read all the client submitted, all the traveler submitted reviews that are submitted to agents' profiles. And that is sometimes, the best part of my job, because listening to stories from people, real life stories from people who love this agent and love what they've done for them, and just are, so much advocates for them and referring to them to their friends and that kind of thing. That's sort of how I was when I was a travel agent. And
Mm.
I would often have people come to me saying, look, I had a really bad experience. I don't like using travel agents. What makes you different?
Mm.
And most of the time, one booking showed them that how I was different. So it's really
Mm.
great when I read other people having those kinds of stories, and just so excited and happy with the service that they've received, that they want to share it with others. So we've got over 800 client submitted reviews on the site now, which is just, beyond what I ever imagined.
Yeah, it would be
So
unreal for you to read them as well, because there's an element of like you just having this overwhelming sense of pride for yourself that you've been able to establish this platform. So there's probably a little bit of you that's like super proud, but super proud on behalf of the agents as well.
yeah, absolutely. Because, I'll fill you in on a little secret. I never wanted to be the face of this business. I'm an introvert. I
Next
wanted to
minute.
be behind the scenes. I know, next minute. I wanted to be behind the scenes. I wanted to, hide behind my logo, which is a term that I have heard you use.
Mhm.
And, I realized over time that unfortunately that's not how it works. People need to connect with a person. And that does work. And, removing my logo and putting my profile picture up on my Facebook profile for Travel Agent Finder was a really huge, huge step for me. But I noticed the shift instantly because people were starting to connect with a person. They started to know me by name, and it does make a massive difference. So I think this is really where the true value lies in what you do, and also on Travel Agent Finder when you have an agent profile. This is not an agency directory. This is not a local directory where I say XYZ Travel from Sydney. This is our phone number. This is a directory about you. This is where the agents can really showcase their expertise, what they're good at, and connect with people based on their expertise and, based on what they love to book. So the profile pictures are a really important part of that, just humanizing it, helping people connect with you through the page based on what you love to book, so you can get more of those bookings, but but also attracting the right client. And I think that's what you do really well too, because a lot of people are not not necessarily originally business owners or have a business or marketing background. So a few skills and learnings around how that side of thing can work can really make a huge difference to someone's business.
Absolutely. And I think at the same time, you're giving space to those people who, yes, they have got an expertise. They do want to attract a certain level of, clientele, or, a certain caliber of clientele. But rather than the traditional sense of, okay, where's my local travel agent, or I need to find a travel agent based on postcode, basing it on expertise and what their passions are. But it's got to come from somewhere. No one would just jump onto your platform and say, okay, cool, I'm passionate in cruising, skydiving, touring, and river cruises. Like, it's just, you've got to have lived that for yourself to be able to jump on board and say, okay, this is what I'm all about. And it starts from that shift of understanding who you are as a person, what kind of a people you do want to attract, and sinking into that space and only being that. I feel like travel agents, we are so used to being everything to everyone. And this is probably like the biggest thing that you have trouble with, I'm guessing, is trying to establish what makes them unique. They are heading onto a website that celebrates your individuality, like what makes you unique to the next person that's on that site. So do you have like a qualifying process, or do you, like, what questions do you ask when someone's kind of jumping on and you see a lot of these agents that are everything to everyone? Like, what question do you ask them for them to help get what they want?
It's a really good question, because so often people will sign up, so they'll register for the site, but they'll leave the about section blank.
Yes.
They don't want to talk about me. And it's really, oh gosh, if I had $1 every time. And
You'd be rich.
It's hard because, I'm the same. I don't like talking about myself, so I get it. And I find it hard, as a marketer, background in marketing, like, I really enjoy trying to think about, okay, what does the client want to know in order to craft a little paragraph about someone? But try and do it for myself. That's a whole nother story. So I actually really appreciate and understand when agents have trouble writing that about me sort of section in their registration form. So what I usually say to them, sorry to circle back and answer your question, is, what are you passionate about? What do you love to book? Have a think about what your clients often say to you about why they love working with you, because I think that's a really good indicator of your strengths when you find it hard to recognize that yourself. So if you have clients, for example, I'll use myself as an example. People would always say to me, oh, you never miss anything. You have really high attention to detail. You listen and you care. And to me, Absolutely. I would have found it hard to think of that, of those as my strengths myself, but
Mhm.
they are absolutely right. When I would have clients who were referred to me and maybe had a bad scenario or a bad experience in the past, that is often what they would say to me. So I can see that that's obviously where my strengths lie, and
Mhm.
it's important to put that out there. I mean, attention to detail is a huge skill when you're talking about booking travel. Um,
Mm.
so important. So if you're finding it hard to think about, what to say or how to talk about yourself, have a think about what your clients are telling you. Like, why do they enjoy working with you? What kind of things do they leave in their reviews or their testimonials? And also, I really definitely on the destination side of things. Where do you know? Where have you lived? Where have you experienced? It's always going to put you a step above the rest. Another thing, if I had $1 every time someone said to me, and you really did just talk about this, but so often people will say to me, "Oh, Anna, I'm a generalist. I book everything."
Mm.
That's okay. You can book everything. You can book anything that anyone asks you for. You're clever. You know what you're doing. But if you market yourself as being everything to everyone, you end up speaking to no one.
Mhm.
And that is something that I try and uh, in a nice way share with people, because I don't want to be blunt and upset them, but realistically, yes, you can book anything anyone asks you, but if you can find what your true niche is, what you want to book more of, what you love to book more, and focus your messages around that, and focus showcasing your expertise around that, that's okay if people come and ask you to book something else. But that is what's going to potentially resonate with someone in the first instance. And once
Mhm.
they've experienced how amazing you are, they keep coming back to you, doesn't matter where they're going. But it's much easier to communicate a really clear message
Mm.
about, a particular niche or destination, or, maybe a couple of destinations, than it is to try and communicate about the whole world.
Mhm.
Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
could talk about that all day.
Because that's your passion.
Yeah.
But being able to sink into your own vulnerabilities to kind of extract those things is the hardest thing. And something that we discovered the other day at Travel Trend that is that it does take time. It's not something that is just going to happen overnight.
Mhm.
Some of our guest speakers, as you would have seen on stage, the only thing that was the common thread between every single person is that they've had to go through that really hard stage in their life to discover what their purpose is. So whether you specialize in travel or you specialize in mindset, like I'm just picking on Suze Barton here, she was our first speaker for the day. Suze had a really incredible story of her career, like having lived 10 years in the span of 3 years and then finding herself in a really undesirable situation, raising children on her own, and then stepping into a space of helping others and serving others during the course of the pandemic. So, and now, yeah, finding that that is your purpose, you have to sink into those vulnerabilities, and it is confronting. It is so confronting. Like I shared my career story on stage, and oh my god, it was so hard to not cry myself. It's hard, but it's what makes you you. And I think when we do strip things back to what it is that we really love about our business, we then have the power to decide. And even though some people feel like they have it really nutted out, like really well, and they're quite happy, there is always opportunity there as well. Because not only are you really stripping things back, you have the golden opportunity to actually refine your process. And that is not something that us travel agents have ever in careers spanning tens and tens and tens of
Mm,
years ever have the opportunity to do, because we are so used to doing the thing, booking
100%.
everything. You know,
Yeah.
when do we ever get a moment to think, okay, stuff this, I'm not booking that anymore? And then just decide the next day you're not going to take on any more of that type of inquiry. When does that ever happen? It doesn't.
I think you're bang on the money there. And I really think that this is the way forward for a lot of people. You know, we're now in this situation where we've come off the back of the last few years where we had a horrible time. Let's just put it out there. We did.
Let's be real.
And
It was
let's
shit.
be real. It was, you know, cancellations, changes. Who never wants to see those again?
Mm.
But we're now in this almost completely flipped scenario where everything's come back. And rather than scrambling to take any booking because we're just so excited to not be doing a refund, people are now in the position where there's too much going on and it's actually overwhelming and it's actually not sustainable. And how long is this going to last? And in some ways, this is the absolute perfect time to figure out, well, what do you want from your business? Because we don't have to do things the old way anymore. People in small businesses in other industries, they're not everything to everyone. They specialize. And it's much easier, as we've said, to communicate what you do and why you're amazing at it and how you can service people when you do specialize. So it's a really crucial time, I think, that's going to be a game changer for a lot of people. And I do see it happening, which is really exciting. You know, every day I'm getting people contact me saying, you know, I'm switching agencies, or our agency's going to virtual only, you know, we're closing down our bricks and mortar, or our agency's decided that we're going to specialize in expedition cruising. So, you know, it's starting to happen. And I think the more people do it, the more hopefully widely accepted it is, and people can see the benefits of doing it, a bit like charging service fees. I think we're slowly changing that message, you know, in the industry. The more people talk about it, the more it becomes accepted by the wider public as well. And, you know, I really think it's the way forward for people, and it's going to make your lives so much easier in terms of marketing and your messaging and your online presence. But also, I mean, imagine a world where you just do bookings for exactly what you love.
Yeah. I reckon my cup would be overflowing every damn day.
Yeah, definitely.
Imagine that.
So yeah, it is possibly hard to make that jump. So, you know, start small, but definitely with Travel Agent Finder, you could give it a go. You know, don't have to rebrand your whole agency, but you can definitely create your profile based on what it is you want to specialize in and showcase a bit of the expertise behind that and what experiences you've had. You know, choose to list under the right specialist categories that suit your business. And it's really interesting to see what happens when all your messaging is around that. Can I share a quick little real life example?
Yeah, absolutely.
I recently installed Hotjar onto my website, which is a sort of like a spy tool. Where, you know, it's a piece of software, and I've just done it temporarily to where you can actually watch what people are doing when they use your website. So obviously I'm really all about showcasing agents' expertise, but the other side of things is I need to make the website appealing to the public so that they can find all these agents, right? So I want to make sure the user experience from a traveler's point of view is good coming to the website. So this piece of software lets me watch back little snippets of people actually coming to the website, how they use it, you know, have I set things up well? And it has just been the most interesting thing, because in most cases it's confirmed that the way that I've set up the website and what I really believe is the best way to use the website from an agent's point of view, it's working. So when a traveler comes to the site, they search by specialty. So yes, okay, we still get a lot of people search by postcode, but over time, I'm going to try and shift that. Yeah. So a really good example recently, somebody searching for a specialist in Norway. So they choose from the drop-down box destination, they choose Norway, they get a list of agents who specialize in Norway. They can compare the agent profiles, they can have a look at their reviews. But then one particular agent who has a blog on the site about Norway, who has a photo album from her recent trip to Norway last Christmas, who is, talking about the Christmas lights and all the amazing things that you can do there and the best time to go. It was really interesting to watch how they compared the profiles. And of course, they went through to Linda because her profile just screams, I know what I'm talking about. And I've just been there and I'm the perfect person for you. So, I can see that's just one example, but I can see how it works from the traveler's point of view to connect them with the right person. We don't want people shopping around. We just want them to find the right person for them because we know they're out there. And I think these days, since COVID as well, we don't need to go and sit down with someone face to face. I mean, half the stores aren't there anymore. So that's the first problem. But, even the older generations, they're now okay with using Zoom. They had to speak to their grandkids, right? In lockdown.
FaceTime. They know how to be on video.
Yeah. So I think if I'm in Sydney and the perfect person for my trip, and I've just, either lost my travel agent and I'm looking for a new one, or I've just decided, okay, I don't want to book my own travel anymore because it's too hard. And I'm in Sydney and the perfect person for my type of holiday is in Perth. Does it matter? No. I don't think it matters. So, now they have the option of actually knowing about that agent in Perth, because how would they have before? And knowing that is the right person for exactly their trip type. So, I think it's the way forward for so many. I think it's going to help people really strengthen their own business, but also help them balance this, overwhelm and overworked side with everything rushing back at once. I mean, you now have the liberty really to pick and choose. So have a think about what you want from your business and make it happen. No one's stopping us. There's no rule.
That's right.
We think there were. We think there are, but there's actually not. As business owners, there's a lot we can decide for ourselves, right?
Yeah, well, I'm all about stepping outside the box. And I know Peter Collar is very huge advocate for making the box bigger.
Oh, Peter's
we have differing views on that. But yeah, valid point. So back to Linda's profile, for example, like obviously they were drawn to all the different touch points, the blog, the photos. So this is what was a big highlight about the Travel Trends Summit. So we created an event that was aimed towards the digitally savvy and aspiring travel business owner who wants to bridge the gap in the digital online world, to really bring their potential to the forefront when it comes to, yes, attracting those ideal clients. So we had a branding photographer, we had a mindset coach, we had a copywriter, we had people from Canva, brand design coaches, YouTube, podcasters, online course creators, travel influencers. Like every single person is the expert on their particular touch point. But if you can make a combination of all of those touch points, not all of them, you don't have to go out there and start a YouTube channel or start a podcast. It's bloody hard. So don't recommend. But choosing one thing and going all in on it. Like, so sounds like Linda's got her head screwed on. She's got the photos. So obviously that spoke to the experience. The blog is obviously personally written as well, in a sense that she was there and she got to experience. It was like an integrative experience. She was able to, articulate. I think it's very hard for some people to articulate their own experiences, but this is why we're in travel and this is what makes us all unique. We aren't designed to sit in this one size fits all, we don't have this ideology anymore. We can't survive in this one size fits all. Postcode doesn't matter. Sorry to everyone who loves a good postcode hunt. It's not relevant anymore. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to pop in to invite you to my free masterclass where I'll be sharing my exact 3-step system to building a rockstar personal brand that attracts your dream clients into your database so you can step up into your travel biz, own your authority, and grow your online presence. And not only that, but you'll also get your hands on my entire Travel Agent Runway framework for standing out in the digital world without the tech overwhelm and not knowing where to start. Want in? Head to stephaniemyers.academy/masterclass and save your spot now. See you there. So for us, we really need to sit in our expertise, but to find that is really difficult. Just look back at the trips that you've done. Like, your experience matters. Like, your experience, Anna, of traveling, all over the world is so different to my expertise. Even if you were to specialize in the exact same thing that I specialize in, our experiences have been like worlds apart different. So it doesn't necessarily make us competitors, but it makes us, individual in our own niche, if that was a thing, Another really big thing from the day, which you would have noticed, Anna, is that there is no competition, but rather the collaboration side of things. So yeah, for me, that was a highlight, but I'm sure you've got highlights of the event too.
I have so many. So just thinking where to start, but I might just continue what you were just saying, because I think that was such a big part of it. And people keep asking me, oh, we've seen it. Everyone loved this event on Friday. What was it? What was it about it that people loved? Like, I can't tell you the amount of people who have reached out to me in DMs or, on LinkedIn asking me about it. And it's actually hard to put into words because there were so many things, but the collaboration side of it really struck a chord with me, because you're right, you did. I mean, you and Adrian, your panel discussion, in another world would be competitors.
Mm-hmm.
Yet here you are, both doing a similar niche in your own way. And instead of being competitors, you collaborated on an event, the world's biggest cruise return party. I'm sorry if I haven't named that properly, but learning about that and just seeing, and I know in my own experience with collaborating people, I call myself Switzerland. So I don't pick sides. I'm always neutral. I like to support everyone. And let me rephrase that. I like to support everyone who, especially those who are on the same wavelength in terms of moving the industry forward and helping it sort of catch up to, technology and the digital side of things, especially. But I just think that when we come together and collaborate on things, we make such a big impact. And it's so, so important, because it is much easier to make an impact when people come together than try and do it solo. And we are all working towards the same future. And I don't think we need to be competitive. I came from a very competitive world in the beginning as a travel agent, and being open to everyone else that's out there and meeting all these incredible people doing great things and coming together and seeing how we can work together instead of closing down and feeling like it's a competitive space has just completely changed my world and everything that I've done since. And it's that quote that I love, a rising tide lifts all boats, because we do affect the whole as an industry when we come together and do these things. So I just want to, applaud you for bringing all those people together, because it was such an important part of the day. And I think everyone really felt, so many things to say. Everyone really felt that supportive environment instantly. I mean, you are normally, I shouldn't say normally, but let's say traditionally at industry events, you often are hearing from really important people within the industry about their experiences, which is great. It's a bit more formal. And often those people are, to me, kind of a bit on a pedestal, maybe, not always so approachable. And that might be a me thing because I'm intimidated, but I felt like everyone on that stage was just so authentic and supportive. And ready to share their skills and knowledge with everyone, that it was so interesting for me to see people just jumping in and asking questions in the middle
Mhm.
of presentations. I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
that
That was a good one. I love that.
that just shows you, right? People are engaged in it's a conversation. It's not some head honcho from a big travel company talking at me. These are people who are here to share what they've done,
Mm,
to help me learn, to offer their assistance, to come together, be in this supportive environment. And you can't describe that. It's hard to explain, and but it's very valuable because people did feel comfortable. They felt they were in a safe space where they could just jump in and ask questions throughout presentations, and it created some really good discussion and just gave everyone that feeling of being there to learn and not be talked at.
mm,
And the next thing I would like to say is that the authenticity of the speakers was incredible.
mm. Yeah, that
Sharing,
next level.
yeah, so good.
Mm,
Sharing their stories. And I think what was really relatable for me, and I'm sure everyone in the room, that so many of you, or so many of the speakers, they're not, they've not been doing this for 50 years. They're not instantly, famous at what they do. They've all come from, and quite recently, come from basically the same position that we were all in,
mm,
working, as a travel agent or in the industry, but wanting to do something different.
mm,
Hearing that Adrian only started his business just before COVID hit, I mean,
mm.
that was a huge eye opener for me. Here am
Yeah.
I, this guy's got all these followers. He does an amazing job on YouTube. He must have been around for ages. He's been creating content since YouTube started. No, he
Mm,
started his business in 2020, right?
yeah.
Right. I mean, crazy.
Mm,
Just and so relatable because digital digital marketing, social media, it's all really very overwhelming when you aren't sure what you're doing, and it's hard to know where to start. But the
mm,
fact that we could sit back and go, oh wow, so you mean I could be there in 3 years?
mm.
So relatable, right?
Yeah, exactly. And this
We
is
could
the guy
definitely
that
involve the
that
people.
yeah, exactly. And he's an introvert like you.
I know, even better. Oh my God, there's introverts popping up all over the industry lately. I'm loving this. I said we need to start a club, but because we're introverts, we wouldn't do anything. But we'll have our club name and club members, and then we'll just have silent parties around it. Um, and he's just one example. I mean, I could use everyone. You sharing your story was just amazing. I saw a lot of light bulb moments for people in the room.
Mhm,
Um, and sometimes knowing what you've been through and how far you've come in such a short space of time really inspires someone to not feel overwhelmed and down in the dumps that they can't do it, because hey, if they can do it, I can do it, right?
exactly, exactly. I think that was my golden thread for my particular story, was just to showcase the fact that, yes, like, there is so many opportunities out there for us, and if something comes to mind and you really resonate with it or you're quite passionate about it, like, why not spring it into action?
Mm.
Just throw the whole bloody bowl of spaghetti at the wall, sauce and all,
Yeah.
rather than just one little thing, single thread go, "Oh, yeah, that might stick." Yeah, so all or nothing, and I know that it's not just me. Kate Nutt, our, photographer on the day, is just a powerhouse. Like, she's very much all or nothing and then burns out, all or nothing and then burns
Mm.
out. Like, she's a weapon.
But everyone was. I was just
Yes.
so inspired by what people have created, um, and put out there, and how far they've come in a relatively short
Mm,
amount of time. And there's just so many assets and resources out there that like these people, that we can share and show others that it might seem overwhelming, but it can be done.
mm.
Um, am I allowed to say on air a comment that you made about your personal development.
Sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah, go
I
for
think
it. Yeah.
I think
I say anything on the podcast.
you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you said you've personally spent, was it $21,000 upskilling in on your own development? And I can't tell you enough how that resonated with me, because I was in a pretty dark place when I lost my business
Mm,
as a travel agent. And I really could have gone either way, but I did, at a time where I didn't have a lot of money, I invested in upskilling my marketing skills, because,
mhm.
I'd been 10 years out of that space and a lot changed in the digital world. Back then we outsourced digital because we didn't know anything about it. That's how long ago I was in marketing originally, right?
Now everyone's a digital creator.
Yeah, but I can't tell you how that changed my life, because if I hadn't invested in myself with that last amount of money, wondering what I was going to do next, there's no way I ever would have gotten here. I
Mm,
ever would have met people like you. And God knows where I'd be. I'd probably be sitting in a really boring job in a bank somewhere doing something I hated. But instead, I invested in myself and my upskilling and my own development, and I'm now able to use that to help other people. And I just am so glad that I went that way, because it could have gone either way at the time, let me tell you.
yeah.
um and I look at what that really resonated with me when you said that. So I guess what I'm trying to say in a roundabout way is, sometimes we don't want to spend money on things because we're unsure about it. But I don't think I've ever regretted spending money on something that was going to improve myself, my
Mhm.
business, or my skills, because I've always gotten the return on the investment. So just you saying that really, really resonated with me. And I think it's something I want to talk about a little bit more, because,
Mm,
I think in our industry, we're so used to getting opportunities and things like destination training and supplier training, from the source, not really having to worry about that kind of thing. But there's not a lot in the space of the business and the marketing side, and,
mm,
how to really show up online if you want to boost your profile and become, an authority in your specialty, your niche, your space. And there's not a lot out there. So if
mm,
it's something that you're interested in learning, you're not going to find you're not necessarily going to find it for free.
mm,
And I think it's so important that if you're interested in it, that you do invest in your own development there, because the return will be beyond what you've expected.
mm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think with Travel Trend, like just the planning and having the caliber of speakers that we did have, the price point had to be where it was. It was massive when I was going through the process of finalizing tickets and, selling them for the last 6 months to people who have never ever seen this event before, like Travel Trend Summit. Like, what even is that? Even
It's
like,
hard.
even, the travel publications, aside from Travel Talk who picked it up, nobody knew what it was.
Yeah.
It's something, and I think I opened up with this, I can't even remember because it was just like this fun blur. I'm pretty sure I opened up the welcome of the day with that. This is an event that you've never ever seen before,
Yeah.
and it's never been done in the travel industry. And something I really prided myself on is making sure that all the speakers, even the travel related speakers. So we had Elsa McLean from Regent come and speak as well on behalf of Regent Seven Seas Cruises. And she could have easily turned her presentation to a sales pitch.
Totally.
And so I said, we are not selling to anybody. So why would she want to come along and sponsor an event where she can't actively pitch Regent?
Mm,
She came on stage and she freaking aced it.
She was amazing.
But using Regent as the example
Yes.
of how you
She
can
does a great
get,
job.
attract that higher end, you know, business clientele. And the way she pitched it to me before, Travel Trend had a schedule was that I could go into Coles, Steph, and I could walk out with 20 Regent clients because I know my product that well that I could go into Coles and walk out with 20 people ready to book a cruise. And for me, I'm thinking, wow, okay, I need to make sure that this event is going to have speakers on stage that know exactly that. Everyone's so passionate about what it is that they do. So when I was going through, so I had obviously, the only person planning this whole thing, aside from, collaborators like yourself, it was my job to make sure that everyone was staying in their lane, talking about their specialty. And it could be one word. So one word that came through in some of the titles that each of the speakers had come up with, this was the word content. So for me, I was thinking, okay, so I've got a copywriter talking about content, I've got a travel influencer talking about content, and I have a brand design coach, ex-Canva queen, talking about content. So Rebecca specializes in brand design. Dana is the travel content guru. And then we've got Elise, who's the copywriting expert. Yes, content is something common among all of those. But when it comes to making something very clear as to what they do, I needed to swap that word content out and just stick in your lane. We had people, everyone was talking about content, but there is so many moving parts to what content actually is. So when we're talking about social media stuff and showing up online, so for your website, the content that you can include are like the specialist programs that people are a part of or have completed. So that's a touch point. That can be spoken about as content because it's part of your professional development, right? Other pieces of content, photos, blogs, articles, like where have they been? Like who are they speaking to out there in the world to kind of bring in their expertise for themselves. So yeah, it was something that I had to make sure that I had a lid on. Otherwise, I'm going to have 3 different speakers talking about the same thing. What could be portrayed as the same thing, and why would anybody want to come? It was be talking about the same thing. So yeah, for me, it was very important to make sure that those portions of the day had to run really smoothly. And I think not having done this before, like you, Anna, still very much on cloud 9, can't process anything, can't send a press editorial, don't know what to say. I'll have photos soon, which I might just send through some photos and go, cool, we had a good day. Have a look at our 150 plus photos. Aren't they beautiful?
You need Elise in your life to do some copywriting magic for you. I think what you were just saying is really interesting, actually, because you pulled it off, because not once did I actually think about the fact that all the speakers were talking about the same thing, but in a completely different way. Yeah. So you did it. You did it really well. And you're right. And I use this example a lot with people, but actually my friend once said to me, there are no original ideas in life anymore. There's no, you don't think you need to be creative and come up with something that's never been done, because not really a lot out there. It's the way that you do something with your flavor that resonates with your ideal audience that makes it different, not the actual concept itself. So I use the example of Pepsi and Coke all the time, right? All the time, because it's such a strong one that I think everyone can resonate with. People have a love-hate thing with Pepsi and Coke. To be honest, I don't drink either, so I don't get that.
You said this to me the other night at the Salty Fox bar, Pepsi and Coke. I remember that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is there, is it okay if someone else is doing something similar to you or in the same space as you? Yes, I think it is, because they're both multi-billion-dollar companies, right? To me, they don't seem that different products, but it's all in the branding and how they've messaged themselves. And I suppose, yes, the taste, there must be some difference, but there's enough space for both of them. And not only is there space, there's a lot of money to be made. So don't ever think that you're doing the same thing as someone else and no one's going to want it, because out there is the person who wants your voice and your take on that. they want Pepsi, they don't want Coke, even though to the third person it might look like the same thing.
Or you get those people that just don't know any better.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, your own take on something and your voice is what you need to identify and put out there, because there is someone out there that will resonate with it and they need you. And there was another beautiful quote, and I'm going to muck it up, which is just going to really not do it service or justice.
Oh, that's all right. We muck up things all the time here.
From the day, whose quote was it about? The world will miss out on, if you don't let your brilliance shine, the world's going to miss out on what they need from you. I've totally screwed it up, so I don't know if you remember that, but it just
did Mike do that in his
I think
presentation?
Mike did it, and there was something about an orchestra.
Yes. Yeah. You don't rob. What was it? Oh, he may or may not listen in on this. He'd be like, "Come on, girlfriend, you got this."
He's gonna kill us for not
Oh
remembering.
no, hang on.
So
I've got
good.
it in my phone. One sec. I've got it in my phone.
It was so good.
Yeah, it spoke to everybody. I had people on Facebook. Oh, okay. Not speaking is robbing the orchestra of humanity of your unique melody.
Thank you. And isn't that brilliant?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so brilliant, because I know it really spoke to me, because I'm like that. And we were just talking about this morning. I feel like I'm bugging people if I'm asking them to fix something on their profile or improve their profile on them, or maybe tweak something to improve things for them on Travel Agent Finder. But I need to be reminded, well, I'm not bugging them.
No.
I need to help them get their message out there that they are amazing at XYZ, and to not get that out there would be robbing their potential ideal client or ideal audience of what could be a really great, amazing holiday and booking and planning experience with them, and possibly client for life, right?
Yeah. Comes down to confidence, but confidence and know-how. Because you're never ever gonna get to that point of putting yourself out there if you don't have those basic needs met to begin with.
Yeah, very good point.
And something that I feel like we unlocked the other day. And from being on stage, like I sat up the back, right? Because I cried a lot through that day and I didn't want people to see me. I was happy chilling up the back. But yeah, for me personally, I had to let everything sink in and soak. I wanted to soak up the event. I wanted to enjoy it and be up the back and just see everyone heavily engaged. But the fact that people would go to the bathroom and they'd be walking past me to have to go out the doors. They'd be back in 30 seconds, waving their hands around like mad chickens because they didn't have time to dry their hands.
Do you want to miss
Running
anything?
back to their seat because they didn't want to miss anything. It was so special. Something
Tell you a
holy
little
moly.
secret. I really had to go to the toilet so badly, but I didn't want to miss anything. So I just held it in for a very bad, long period of time. Let me tell you. Anyway, sorry, continue.
But yeah, like I've been on stage. Oh, sorry, not on stage. Never been on stage before. That was my first time.
Wow. You did well. Good on you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I felt like I started to enjoy it towards the end. It was lovely. I thought I surprised myself actually, but that's a story for another day. But like I've been to travel events where you've got like some pretty big icons on stage, like right? Like my last one I think was the MTA conference. We had Guy Sebastian and Ali Langdon and some big names on stage. But for me, like I'm not speaking on behalf of everyone. I'm only speaking on behalf of myself. But I find those things seriously boring. I'm the girl with her phone under the tablecloth, texting friends. Help me, save me, entertain me, please. Like I don't find those things quite engaging. Everyone seems to like it. But for me, I needed to create an event that was going to hold my attention.
You certainly did that.
Which is different, I suppose. But yeah, so I'm glad that it all went off without a hitch. But the standing ovation at the end, people yelling out for 2024. Oh my goodness.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I could cry now talking about it. But yeah, it was just something next level, something I've never experienced before in my whole life. But one thing that I really felt that was so prominent in that room that day was the love. Everyone
Yes.
had love in their eyes. Like everyone was just loving the material, loving the speakers, loving getting to know their stories, loving to hear the vulnerabilities, the struggles, but also the triumphs and them being here sharing their talent with us today. It
Mm.
was just such an awesome thing. Like at the end, like we had speakers hugging agents, agents hugging each other, agents hugging speakers, speakers hugging agents, like everyone was just hugging each other. And even up the front, like I was getting our full group photo and you were standing next to me. I'm like squeezing your head.
Yes,
Like we're
that's
not
right.
linking arms, we're not posing. We're just like little kids, like holding hands on the way to kindergarten up the front.
Oh, yeah, you could definitely feel the love in that room and just the excitement and the realness
Mm,
of everything. And I think that's really what set it apart.
mm. And for those people who are hanging out for a date next year, very much in the talks. And for those people who aren't aware, pretty much Kate and I went and had an amaretto sour and a margarita at the Runway Bar at Ridges. We were still there at 5 o'clock on the Saturday afternoon after everyone had their branding shoots. And we basically mapped it out on the back of a napkin. So that's where all the best business ideas come from, isn't it?
Yes.
At the bar.
Oh, this is exciting. I didn't know this.
Yeah. So it's all happening. We haven't yet I haven't yet decided what I'm going to do because I'm still very much wanting to still process what's just happened. But yeah, I think it's going to be a yearly thing from now on.
Brilliant.
And next year, I would really love to just keep the same format. It was super successful, I think. Oh, I thought the feedback I've gotten so far is that it just went off amazingly.
Yeah.
There's going to be a few extra immersive experiences next year, I think, as well. I'm
Ooh.
tossing out whether we do the event over 2 days. Not quite sure, but open to feedback if you want to DM me. But yeah, I think next year's going to be bigger and better. And especially if there's quite a solid group, like returning delegates from this year
Mm.
to next year, we need to be able to bring them up to that next level. But for those people who are thinking, oh, damn it, I missed out. Biggest FOMO. If you had the biggest FOMO at all, let us know because I freaking love FOMO. I don't love having it myself, but I love hearing when other people have it. But yeah, let us know because there's going to be information, exclusive information from the speakers that are being pre-recorded. The Travel Trend event is not going to be anything available in an online capacity. And I've decided this only because I cannot at any means, like I don't even know how I could do a carbon copy or replicate that day into an online capacity. How could I? I couldn't because it was all about the experience of the day. The information was amazing. I could easily jump on and like get all the speakers back on and just give the information. But what happened in that room was just next level. I could never replicate that. So in the spirit of that, and this is an official out there press release to whoever's listening, Anna, it's not
The
happening.
crowd goes wild. I am the crowd.
We're not doing it in an online capacity. There is so much out there. Like the world is saturated with online stuff. Believe me, like I do free masterclasses every 6 months. I know what it's like putting something out there and it's free, let alone having something out there and it's paid. It would be so hard. And for my sake, I miss people and I love people. And the amount of hugs that I received and gave over the course of the weekend was just something that you could just never, like, you couldn't put a price tag on that at all. Like, it's just not a thing. So, no online travel trend. It's only an in-person event. And I'm so glad it is because it brings people like you and me together, Anna. It brings people like some of your people on your platform that you've never met before.
I know, it was so great. There's people who were there on the day who I've been emailing and messaging and Instagram DMing for, 12 to 18 months now, but never had the opportunity to meet in real life. And
Yeah.
God, it's good, isn't it?
It's such a good feeling. Like,
So
I met
good.
students that I've been working with for the last 2 years and I've never met in person. Like, what a treat. I was so
Yeah.
stoked. One thing I
You
really, really kick myself over is not getting a group photo with them. Mm, I
oh,
know.
that's a shame. But you know what? You've got next year to look forward to. So you can add that to the agenda.
Yes, I'll definitely be penciling that in. Anna, thank you so much for sharing your debrief with us today. And oh my God, we have to catch up for a smoothie or a beach walk or something because
Yes, please. I have lots to say.
and I feel like we need to plan something for next year.
Great. I'm excited about it. And I think, a lot of people will be too. There were some people who wanted to come but couldn't make it this year. And
Mm,
now, the date's going to be out there in plenty of time. People can budget for it in
mm,
advance. I think that's important. Make it happen.
mm, absolutely. Yeah. Budgeting and investing in your own business. Like if anyone can preach to it, it's us, right?
$100%.
Spending thousands, but we're so lucky that we have access to things now that, are well in the price range and you could make it back in one client booking. So in the
Absolutely.
scheme of things and the way that things are at the moment, it's definitely the investment. You're going to see it tenfold, 20-fold. It's something that's going to sustain your longevity of your business, but also have the angle of keeping it fresh for you because you want to work in a business that's fun, right? Like, why the hell would you do this day in, day out if you're chained to your desk, hating life? But yes, just being told that this travel event in specific was a highlight of their whole travel career was
Wow.
just huge
Yeah.
to witness. And I know I've been in travel since I was a teenager. So, yes, there's many of us that's still here in travel. But back in the day, it was like you went to the bank or you went to a travel agency, and those people are still in travel. And to be told that was just so special. So, once a travel agent, always a travel agent, right? Usually.
Good on you, Steph. Congratulations. Massive congratulations for what you pulled off because it's not easy. And you're right, nobody knew what it was, what was going on, what was happening,
Mm,
but they believed in you. And, it's their investments definitely paid off. And we can't wait till next year.
yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my feedback from Rosalind Rance the other day in the DMs was very much like if, kudos to you for a great event, but if events were easy, everyone would be planning them.
Yes.
Man, I felt
How
that.
true is that? How true is that?
So true.
I still don't know how you pulled it off, but you did.
Oh,
It's
me
true.
neither.
Yeah.
Lots of late nights and, deep conversations.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Anna, for joining us on the show. I want to get everyone to jump over and check out Travel Agent Finder. Where can we find out more about you, Anna?
You can add me on LinkedIn if we're not already connected. You can head to travelagentfinder.com.au. It is free for Australian travel agents to join. There are options for you within there, but there is definitely the free plan. And if you have any questions at all about it, hit me up on a message on social media or hello@travelagentfinder.com.au.
Beautiful. We'll be seeing you in the DMs, Anna. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Steph.
Cheers. See ya.
Bye.
Yay! Thank you so much, Anna, for joining us on the podcast. It won't be our last time because I've absolutely loved chatting with you. And yeah, can't wait to chat with you once again. And I really hope that people out there in the industry are slowly getting the grasp that we have a really good thing going on here when it comes to getting us noticed out there. Like, we are in the most funnest industry in the whole world, yet we don't really talk about it. we need to start talking about it, which is awesome. And I know Anna's super passionate about that as well. We're not going to stop this conversation. Never, ever. It's going to be something that's going to evolve year after year. And as you probably have found out, the Travel Trend Summit is something that is going to evolve with the times. It's in the name. We're going to go all in on what's trending at that time to get us out there, get us recognized, and get us, seen out there in the digital world. So, very passionate about it. But if you are looking at joining us for our free masterclass, which is coming up on the 8th of June, I go through the step by step of what you need to do to create a personal brand that skyrockets your travel business and positions you as the authority inside of your niche, even if tech isn't your jam and you have zero clue where to start. That's my job to help you out. It's also our mid-year intake to Travel Agent Runway as well. So I'll be going through all of the details on the masterclass as well as giving away a spot inside of my mini course, my Social Suitcase, which helps you create an epic social media content strategy packed with ready to go templates that do all of the heavy lifting for you so that you can grow your travel business and onboard new travel clients in just 7 days or less. Can't believe I'm giving this away. I've never given it away before. So super excited. But yes, make sure that you head over to stephaниemyers.academy/masterclass to get your name on the list. It's going to be big. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I can't wait to see you there.